All right, folks, welcome back. I've got an interesting conversation I want to talk to you about artificial intelligence. Now, this is at the forefront of everybody's consciousness, and Grant and I have developed a mantra here at Brand Scientist that the way to protect yourself and your business from the AI revolution that's coming is to build a brand. The entire internet has been scraped, and there's no such thing as IP anymore. You don't have any more intellectual property. If I want to find out the formula, the recipe, or how to do something, or write a bit of code to do something that's already out there, I can just ask ChatGPT 4 and it will be able to give me all of that information. One really scary thing is we've seen the advent of ChatGPT in the last couple of months, really, in the scheme of things. In the last 12 months, we've gone from 3 to 3.5 to 4, and it's estimated that ChatGPT 4 has the IQ of about 165. So I don't know what your IQ is, or even if an IQ test is a measure of intelligence, but it's a scale of how intelligent something or somebody can actually be. So ChatGPT is probably about twice as smart as the average human being now.
Yeah.
And if you look at Moore's law and the way that things are doubling every 12 to 18 months, that's what Moore's law is, we're seeing the advent of artificial intelligence well in line with that, in fact, faster than that. So pretty soon we're going to have ChatGPT 5, and we know that OpenAI have put out some content in the last couple of months to allow you to put some robots text on your website to stop the AI bot from scraping your website. So already we have the large language model that can understand everything there is to do about marketing, sales, branding, business, accounting, every silo of your business. But now it's going to go away and scrape every single website that's out there. So what it's going to do essentially is make Google redundant, because the way I'm searching for something in Google, getting a linear list of things, unless Google catch up to OpenAI, but I think they're a little bit behind the war in the behind the 8 ball in the AI war. But ChatGPT will give you different recommendations and different ways of doing things. So the scary thing for me is that we've gone from 3 to 3.5 to 4 in just 12 months. We're about to go to 5. And it's estimated that ChatGPT 5 will be twice as smart as what ChatGPT 4 is. And what that says to me is that people are going to start using artificial intelligence as the brains of their business. And if you can't figure out how to actually do that sooner rather than later, you're going to be made redundant very, very quickly. And let me just give you some statistics from an IBM study that happened just recently. So IBM is a worldwide company, global company. They studied 3,000 people in the C-suite and 21,000 of their employees globally in 28 different countries. And what they discovered is that 40% of workers are going to have to be re-skilled within 3 years.
40%?
40% of their
in 3 years.
So what's happening is AI is not going to make you redundant. AI is not going to do anything. It's a robot that lives on the internet. It's a computer. It doesn't do anything to you as a human. But people that are using AI are going to make those other people redundant.
Correct.
That's the catch. So if you're a marketing agency, if you're a sales agency, if you're a copywriting agency, if you're a digital SEO agency, unfortunately, you're going to be replaced by this robot. And what's going to happen is the people that have got ahead of the curve with this artificial intelligence and they've figured out how to create the command prompts to drive their business are the ones that are going to win this war. And pretty soon, you're going to wake up one morning and realize that your customers have all disappeared for some reason. You're like, where are all the customers? Where do they all go? The customers didn't go anywhere. It's the businesses that have the strongest brand recognition that have been able to utilize artificial intelligence to capture more market share. So straight up, building a brand is a good idea, because building a brand and being more recognizable and being more famous reduces the amount of money you have to spend on advertising and marketing. So whatever product I put in front of somebody, they go, oh, I know that brand, that's really good. So I've got an electronic notepad here in front of me from a company called Remarkable. So hands up in the audience, how many of you have heard of Remarkable? I have. There's a couple of people out there that have. It's a pretty leading edge brand that's out there, but I would be willing to bet that 90% of the people that I'd ask, maybe 95% of people that I ask, have they ever heard of that? They would say no. So their brand is it's just not on their radar. It's just not there. So how would someone like Remarkable make the other electronic notepads out there redundant and irrelevant? Well, if they get ahead of the curve and they can use artificial intelligence to optimize their branding, to optimize their advertising campaigns, their landing page, their copy, and they're using artificial intelligence as the brain of their business, they can capture more market share. And in capturing more market share, your brand becomes more recognizable.
Or you have more opportunity.
That's what it does. It's very, very simple.
Yeah.
So these two things are intimately intertwined. Some people think that artificial intelligence and branding don't go hand in hand. But I'm here to tell you folks, in the last couple of months that I've been playing with AI and just working with you and doing this thing with brand scientists, I've discovered that the things are so intimately intertwined that you cannot separate them. And unless you get on board this gravy train right now, you're going to be left behind. It's a very exciting time in human history, but it's also a very worrying time in human history as well, because 40% of people are going to be made obsolete by the 60% of people that are using AI to replace them. I don't know, how do you feel about that?
So I'll give another context. I don't disagree with anything that you say, but I think there's another context altogether. For me, AI is not a calculator that you ask a lot of questions and get answers. It's not a calculator. It is a brainstorming tool, is what I refer to it as right now. You ask it questions, it's going to give you answers. You are left to interpret those answers and to still find the magic in between sentences, words. You just need a line to give you a fresh angle in your marketing approach to be unique. So I find that right now, a lot of business owners, you've heard the saying that business owners are lonely. You don't need to be lonely anymore. You can actually sit and have a very intellectual conversation with an AI.
With a robot.
With a robot. And you can ask it all the questions that are on your mind and get a string of answers. You can say, give me 10 options. You can say, give me 50 options. You can say, give me 100 options. You can say, give me 5 options, and get those 5 and say, well, take it deeper, take it further. And you can add a new dimension to it, and it will keep on thinking, and it never gets tired. It keeps on giving what you ask. So I find that as much as your facts are valid, as much as there's another study made that 1.3 million job types are going to become obsolete.
You know, one hand in hand with that, in that IBM study, they estimate that there's 3.4 billion people on planet Earth.
Yeah.
That in the workforce.
Yes.
And so they're saying that 1.4 billion of those are going to be redundant, and that's under the categories of the
job.
1.3
That's
million.
right. So for example, bus drivers, I believe, are going to become obsolete. Okay? And those bus drivers are going to have to go and find something else. And so therefore, they may very well use AI as a form of reinventing themselves with the view to deliver something of value in another sector altogether. But bus drivers as a service is going to come to an end. We're now starting with driverless trains. We're going to, I don't know, I don't look forward to the day we have no captains on board a flight. I still would like a man to control a computer in case it's Control-Alt-Delete or something like that. But I think one of the things that I think is important is the fact that it's not about running away, it's about running towards.
Yep.
But at the same time, getting skilled. And that's what we went and created through Ainstein. And Ainstein was this unique way of creating prompts with the view to help you put the basic marketing strategy together that you may need. So what it is, we lead with a question, you answer it with your details, and basically you start to personalize it around who you are.
So the idea with Ainstein is to help you to...
And that's AI.
That's AI, Einstein. Yeah.
That's right.
Clever name, clever brand, right? Well done, coming up with that name. So the idea with Ainstein is that you're going to preload it with a series of information about your business. And we've written these command prompts. If you don't know how to do that, I've written that for you so you don't have to think about it and you don't have to try and work it out or how to engineer it. A lot of people look at ChatGPT and AI, and there's a couple of different versions of it out there, and they just shrug their shoulders. They're like, it's just a bit of an assistant. It'll help me with my grammar and my spelling and make things look a little bit neater and nicer. But it's so much more than that. And you have to understand that the way that artificial intelligence works is completely different to Google.
Totally.
We've just been conditioned since the early 2000s to type in a search result and get a linear list of information that we have to disseminate.
Look, AI is a threat to Google.
Completely is, yeah.
Okay, so as much as you would use Google for searching, it's still a valid tool.
It's very relevant, yeah.
But at the same time, you're looking for answers, and I'm saying it's not the answer, it's answers, it's options. I think options is a better word. Then basically, then AI is the one. And I think that, you know, with the pandemic, we as a nation we as civilization, we as business communities have to pivot. And I think AI is that doorway that we have to go through with the view to find new answers, new strategies, new techniques. And like you mentioned earlier, you can find the best lawyers in town and they will document all your paperwork and lodge it in some form of counsel, whatever the case may be. But you know, AI doesn't know what is protected, what's not protected. It will merely just give the answer. So the only way that you can protect intellectual property going forward is to build a brand. It's the bottom line.
Yep.
It's the only way, because if your brand is recognized to a theory or to a formula or to an execution, then basically that's going to get captured in that form of AI.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think, folks, that you can, not even for 1 minute, can you separate artificial intelligence from your business. If you're operating a business, it doesn't matter what it is, whether that's an e-commerce store, it's a trade-related business, a service-related business, or you sell products like I've got in my hand here, you need to start figuring out how to use artificial intelligence to drive your business. It's a brainstorming tool for sure, but it's also going to help you to figure out the gaps that you've got in your business.
Or unlock opportunities.
I was playing with it earlier today, and I was playing with SWOT analysis. So strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats, right? So I gave it the strengths and weaknesses, and I pre-programmed it with all of the things that I wanted to do. And I was doing this from a fictitious perspective, as if I was a baker, of all things, right? So old school trade, everybody wants to eat some bread, and everyone buys a loaf of bread a couple of times a week. So that's never going anywhere. You're never going to be replaced by a bot to do that. You may, but I doubt it's going to happen in the next 10 years. So you're okay with that.
Yeah.
But if you were a baker and you'd been in the trade for 10 or 15 years and you decided it was time to actually spread your wings and go out on your own, how would you get started with something like that? Well, there's 1,000 ways you could do that. There's Chamber of Commerce, there's business networking groups, there's mentors, there's coaches, there's all sorts of people that can help you get stood up and get the business going. But ultimately, you're going to be a small business owner and you're going to be responsible for everything that's happening in your business. And if you've got to dip into your pocket and put your own money on the line, how much runway do you have to actually make that happen? If you're smart about that, what you've got to do is mitigate as much of that risk as possible. And the reason I was playing with the SWOT analysis was you can do SWOT on anything. And when I say SWOT, people go, oh my God, Rob, that's the most boring thing in the world. It is, but if you look at it on a granular basis, on a product by product or a service by service basis, you'll find that there are ways that you can optimize your business, minimize your risk, and increase your productivity, and therefore add to your bottom line by using simple command prompts and simple things in AI. We've got all of that for you in Ainstein. I've written all of that there for you, so you don't have to try and figure all of that out. There's 100 and something different things that you can optimize in your business back through Ainstein, and we're adding to that all the time.
We're going to be adding to it monthly.
I'm very excited to be doing that.
Yeah, so we're going to be exploring all aspects of business, but we're starting with marketing. We're starting with the basic fundamentals of...
It affects everyone.
But it affects every single business.
Yeah.
But your example about the baker could be quite simple. You could just be reinventing yourself with a view of challenging some recipes.
It gave some, I'm not a baker, but my missus is a chef. She was a chef for like 20 years or something. So I understand that business. She'd worked in restaurants, in hotels, in small businesses as well. So I understand how hospitality works. And being a baker is just an extension of being a chef. Same, but different, right? Different kind of spots, I suppose. But it gave some incredible suggestions that I never would have come up with by myself, because my view of the world is only this wide. My aperture is only that wide. But ChatGPT's aperture and Einstein's aperture that it gives to you is all of humanity's, all of human consciousness is out there. But many people will look at it and go, well, how do you extract that information out of it, Rob? Well, what you have to do is use some command prompts like we've got for you in Ainstein, and that will extract all of that information for you without you having to sit there and figure it out and trying to wonder how to do something like that.
Look, I think it's a one time, if you're a baker, that you can reinvent the croissant.
You could.
I think you can really take it to new dimensions, and it's a case of challenging yourself, challenging ChatGPT or an AI platform.
Some version.
And basically coming up with, working with contingents with a view of creating a recipe.
Yeah.
And even asking how to go about putting it together in the oven so that that we can try and get an alternative result to that of what is already known in the marketplace.
It's funny how it can be so nuanced and so detailed in so many different aspects.
Yeah.
That's everything from coding to cooking and anything in between, because it's the totality of human consciousness that's out there. And as we move forward with ChatGPT 5 and that goes away and starts scraping the internet, who knows what's going to happen with that. What I do know is that if you don't start aligning with this now, if you don't align your business with it and your thought process with it and stop being so dismissive of it, it's going to render you redundant. And I like to say it as the ladder of escalation. So the ladder of escalation for me with AI is, the first thing is ignorance, where people are like, what do I care about that for? The next one is redundancy, because if you're ignorant to it, that means you're not paying any attention to it, which means your competitors are, and they're going to make you redundant, which means you're no longer required, and your skills are going to go to obsolescence.
Sure.
And if you're redundant and obsolete, then it kind of means that you've had your career destroyed, you've had your profession destroyed, and the data and the studies are proving that 40% of the workforce are going to have to be retrained within 3 years because of open AI technology and ChatGPT. That seems like a fundamental shift in our society that you have to align with before you end up on that pile of obsolete people.
Look, I think one of the things that is that when you're growing a business, it's not more is more, less is more. So I think that you've got to utilize an AI platform with the view to calibrate opportunity with the view of how you can get growth and scale. Because I think it's about looking at your business in a totally different lens, in a different perspective to that of what you're conditioned, to that what you know, to that what you've experienced. And you've now got to start thinking outside of the box. I go back to the 70s when people used to frown that plastic credit cards was going to take over cash. And look at it today. I go back to the day when the internet was laughed at that this would not take over. We are just merely scratching the surface right now. And what we went and created with Ainstein is that every business needs a marketing strategy. And every business out there can utilize Ainstein as their core foundation of understanding how they can be a point of difference in the marketplace without going crazy or having some agency come and give you some wacky ideas that's costing you a fortune. I think you need to start homegrown. I think you need to start with your home team. I think you need to start with less makes more. And I think you need to transplant your ideas in the way of growth rather than the conventional way that business has been done for the last 100 years.
Yeah, I think it's bang on. Folks, if you want to learn some more about Ainstein and how we've done it and what's involved, you can find all of the information in the link in the description right there below. Just head over to brand-scientist.com and you can find out some more about Ainstein. That wraps it up for this video. See you in the next one. Bye for now.